Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Leah Hailu, and I'm an intern with the Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity Committee here at Mayo Clinic's Department of Laboratory Medicine and Pathology. For today's video, I'm here with Cruze, and he'll be answering a couple of questions about his role and experience at Mayo. So if you'd like to introduce yourself a bit.
Hi, my name is Cruze Walker. I've been at Mayo Clinic for a total of 12 years, 11 years as an employee. And prior to that, I did my clinical internship here through the Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences Clinical Lab Science program. I worked as a technologist in a laboratory on the floor, or on the bench, excuse me, for 6 years. After that, I was promoted to quality specialist 1 in that laboratory. I worked in that position up until almost exactly my 10-year anniversary in the laboratory. Then I was promoted to quality specialist 2 in the therapeutic apheresis treatment unit, which is where I work now.
Oh, thank you. And can you tell me a couple of your favorite things to do in your role?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to be challenged. It sounds kind of funny, but I truly love it when I need to prep for an inspection. Inspections are typically viewed as something that's very stressful, it's very difficult. It's kind of a moment or a time of intense scrutiny. And I really like that because I'm the type of person who working in quality, it means I have my ducks in a row, for lack of a better term. It means that I'm being kind of pushed outside of my comfort zone to really be able to answer the questions that inspectors pose or something like that. I also absolutely love being the person that virtually anybody in the work unit can come to solve a problem. If it's our section director coming to me and saying, we have an emergency inventory control problem and we need to revalidate or to validate a brand new product in a very quick and efficient way, or if it's one of our staff saying, this patient is here and they're not meeting the correct criteria for this procedure to be done. How do we handle this? So it's just very, very fulfilling to work in quality and be able to put all of myself into working through these really difficult challenges and getting to the end and being able to say, okay, we found a solution, or we weren't able to find a solution, but this is what we learned from it. And that's so fulfilling to me. It's empowering and it just feels great.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned you've done a couple of roles at Mayo so far, but I wanted to know, why did you choose to work at Mayo Clinic?
So I chose to work at Mayo Clinic coming out of my internship because it was just the right fit. The level of attention to detail that's required to work at Mayo Clinic it just suits how I function. It means that there's always this push for being better than we were yesterday. And that is pretty much exactly who I am as a person. And it just felt right from day one. I also knew Mayo Clinic they're leading the pack in so many areas that we're always seeing something that is very rare or brand new. We're on the leading edge of the technologies that we use, the disease states that we're working on, the research that we're doing. And that's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be working as a generalist and just, doing the same thing every day. I wanted the excitement and the challenge.
Yeah, thank you. And now, can you tell me a little bit more about how working at Mayo compared to other jobs that you had?
Sure. So I basically came straight into this position from college. I was an undergrad when I did my internship, and I was actually hired right as my internship was ending. So I don't have a lot of experience working in other professional careers to this degree. Prior to this, I mean, I worked some jobs in college and stuff, and I would say it's not even in the same realm, just because Mayo Clinic has so many resources that you wouldn't even think to ask your supervisor or to ask HR or whatever about in other industries or in other careers.
Thank you. So for my next question, can you share a story of how Mayo provided you with a sense of belonging?
Yes, absolutely. And this is one of the happiest and most exciting things that has been part of my career. So I'm very passionate about it. In the summer of 2021, so last year, the Office of Patient Experience reached out to um, a number of people and started a project that involved basically making sure that making sure that the experience of transgender and gender nonconforming patients was as good as it could possibly be for anybody who comes to Mayo Clinic. And I was involved in that group of people. It was a very small group of people. I want to say there were about a dozen of us. We built from scratch a training module that is now available, provided to every single Mayo Clinic staff member from environmental services all the way up to consultant level staff. And it felt very nice to have my opinion desired, but beyond that, it was the fact that when I provided feedback, they genuinely wanted my feedback. They asked, how would you build this? So as a transgender employee and patient at Mayo, I wanted to make sure that there were experiences that were affirming to our patients and staff. And I wanted to make sure that there were certain experiences that I've had other places as a trans patient that didn't happen here. And being part of that group, being valued and sought out as part of that group and providing my honest feedback and having that feedback taken straight to heart and honestly valued, it just made me feel like as an employee, I wasn't just somebody who comes to work and does my part every day. I was part of a movement to move forward, part of ensuring that the needs of the patient come first. And also throughout that project, we actually kind of had a lot of conversations about, if this is something that applies to a trans or gender nonconforming patient, what's the analogous side to being a trans or gender nonconforming employee? And there again, I was able to use some of the experiences that I've had. So my transition itself, there were a couple of hiccups along the line. Like it's just, it's a thing. And I was able to basically be able to say, this is something that happened for me, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Maybe we can make that a little bit better. And that information was taken and passed on, and changes were made. And it just makes you feel so welcome and wanted. And I don't know, I feel that I'm wanted here.
Mhm. That's so fantastic. That's really great work that you are doing. And for my next question, I was wondering, where do you see yourself in the future at Mayo Clinic? It seems like you really love this place.
I do. I do. I absolutely love it here. And I've known since day one that I've wanted to work in quality. Having worked in quality now for 5 years, I do see myself continuing to stay in quality. There's a number of potential avenues that I can continue to follow at Mayo and stay in quality. I don't know 100% right now which I'm most interested in, but definitely moving up in quality management for Mayo Clinic. And I honestly would be very happy to spend my career here.
Thank you. And this is my last question. And it's not really like a question, but is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about your role or about your experience, advice?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that Mayo Clinic is the type of place where it's not just your everyday healthcare. It's not just your everyday job or career. It it's on a whole nother level. The amount, the resources that we have available to us as employees and the amount of resources that they make available to their patients, the level of care that's given to patients, and the amount of just resources that are available to staff is it's absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, if you have a problem, you bring it forward and it goes up the chain and it gets taken care of. It just, I don't know, I've never worked in a place like that. I've never known anybody who's worked in a place like that where feedback is genuinely taken and wanted and acted upon.
Mm, thank you. So I'd like to say thank you again for speaking with me and speaking to our audience today. I really appreciate you talking about your experiences and the vulnerability you had.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed being part of your series.